Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, thank you for watching. My name is Holly and I am a hobby crafter, so that's why my channel is called Holly's Hobbies. I do take custom orders and I do make ready to ship items. Today I'm going to show you how I created a custom order for a requested item from my coworker and friend. So she wanted a badge reel that was in the shape of a heart and it had dried florals in it. And so I ordered everything from Amazon to make this project for her. I have my silicone molds, heart-shaped silicone molds. It comes in a set of 2. And then I have my dried florals, and then I have a little set of charms that I can drop inside those molds. Now, I've never used dried florals or charms inside molds before, so this is totally experimenting. So if you are ready to join me for a whole ton of mistakes, go ahead and continue watching. They're pretty comical, and I do know better, but I did the things anyway that caused lots of error. So, mistake number 1. I didn't heat up the epoxy resin enough, and so it had a lot of bubbles in it, and I was too impatient to sit and wait for those bubbles to pop on their own before I poured it into my silicone molds, so I used my torch excessively. And when you use a torch on molds, I know that it will ruin your molds, but I did it anyway because I thought, nah, it's not going to happen to me today. Right. Okay, so what I did to begin is I placed the smaller florals in the epoxy resin first and pushed it down, because what you're looking at right now is actually the back side of the badge reel. And so the front side, I want the smaller items to sit forward and the larger items to sit back. So I placed my smaller items in first and then my larger items behind. And I wanted to fill up the dishes, not completely. I wanted some clear epoxy to show through, but the badge reel that I'm going to place behind it is about, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches wide. And it is round, so I wanted to make sure that I had at least 1.5 inches area in the center of each heart filled in pretty heavily, and then I can make it more sparse as it pulls out to the edge. Then what I did, because like I said, this is my first time making these floral molds, I just took a little bit of that excess epoxy and poured it right over the top, just enough to cover the florals, so everything was encased in epoxy. Also, I just sort of randomly sprinkled some glitters and foils in there, and I turned out that I didn't like it at all. It took away from the floral design that I had imagined, and so I'm not going to do that again. So next time if I use foils, I'm not going to use glitters anymore, but if I use foils, I'm going to specifically place them exactly where I want them, but it'll probably be with a second application of epoxy over the top rather than initially with the inserting the florals. I had that whole entire other sheet of molds sitting there waiting for me to do something with, and I didn't want to do any more florals because I wasn't really sure I was going to love the 3 that I already did. So I decided to use Jenn's Crafted Gems alcohol inks, which look so pretty. And so I just put some inks in there, and then when I put that white on there, everything just started moving around and blending. I was so happy with it. It looks so good. And then I decided to go ahead and torch the alcohol ink epoxy combination, to finish popping those bubbles and stuff. Now, do you think that was smart? No, because alcohol ink is flammable. That could have seriously been a major fire in my craft room. So come on, do better in 2023, Holly, with your patience and doing things you know you shouldn't do because you're in a hurry. Stop it. Just stop it. So I'm just going to fly through this disaster part of the video because these are all the things that went wrong. So I unmolded it. It ripped my silicone mold. Really, I couldn't save much. When I put them face down again, after I unmolded, I put them face down in the resin mold. I poured another layer of epoxy over the back of it. This one right here that I'm showing you, I mixed a little bit of glitter in with it, and it spilled over the front side, so that underneath of the mold when I replaced it face down. So these ones are all no-goes. They're all mess-ups. The 2 on the right here, those are brand new. So I did the exact same process. I put florals in 2 brand new molds, the ones that weren't ruined. And this time I am not going to unmold them. I'm just gonna let them sit, and then I'm gonna put another layer of epoxy right over the top of it, let that cure completely a second time before unmolding it at all. So these two actually turned out really pretty. These are the ones I'm going to show you in the end. And then with that third epoxy area, with the third heart right there, I poured epoxy in there, and I just wanted to play with alcohol ink one more time. So this time I poured the alcohol inks in, but I did not hit the alcohol ink with a torch. I torched it before the alcohol inks went in the heart. And they looked really good. Even the one on the bottom, the alcohol ink heart, that one turned out really pretty too, but too much of the alcohol ink moved upward and it left a clear area down below, which I actually really love. So I'm going to keep this. I like it. I think it's really pretty, but I'm not going to put it on a badge reel because the badge reel shows too much behind that heart because of the clear section. So this one is absolutely gorgeous. This is actually the one that my friend picked out to keep as her own. I love it. Love the love heart. I love the roses in there and the florals. It's perfect. Turned out so pretty. I'm really happy with it. And then the little blue one stuck to the silicone mold again, even though I didn't torch it that much. So I don't know, maybe it's a combination of a bad mold and torching. I really have no idea. I'm sure it's user error. I'm sure it's me. It's all me. But I did scrape off that silicone and I fixed it. So it's really pretty. So I have 2 pieces that turned out really nicely to go on a badge reel. So let me show you what those look like at the end. I'm using a clear badge reel and some E6000 glue to attach the reel to the back of the heart. So I like to put E6000 both on the object I'm attaching it to and the badge reel. So once you have the glue on both pieces and you have stuck those pieces together, you can position and turn and twist your items because it is very liquidy and it will slide around. So I just hold it, give it some pressure, reposition, and then I just lift my hand off, let it sit for a little bit, and then reposition just one final time before I walk away and let it completely dry. So I'm trying to get the bottom end of that badge reel to hang down. Luckily, the heart has a perfect point at the bottom, so it was really easy to line up. If I have a round object that I'm putting the badge reel on, I have to keep sort of, if it has words on it, I want the words to line up straight when the badge reel is secure. So I just keep flipping it over and looking at it. But look how pretty. So I do that with both of them, and then I just leave them to sit flat so they can dry, and then the next morning they are totally done. So here is the finished product, and even with all the mistakes I made and the video pieces I cut out, I hope you still enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments below, even if it's to say, shame on you, Holly, for setting your alcohol ink on fire. And as always, of course, thank you so much for watching.